and welcome to How to Cook Great Food. With thousands of recipes and millions of views, why not subscribe to our channel and join the family?
Welcome back once again to howtocookgreatfood.com. If you haven't already, please click that button and subscribe to our channel. On the menu today, and as you can see here, just straight out the oven, this one, we're going to be making a shepherd's pie or cottage pie. So we've got a layer of minced meat with a layer of mashed potato and a touch of cheese on the top. Really, really delicious. Now, shepherd's pie is made with lamb. Cottage pie is made with beef. Process exactly the same. You can really play around with this. There's no absolute set herbs, spices and whatever you want. You can kind of chuck in what you like, really. Really simple. Let's go and do it. Just one more thing before we get started. Some people would make a cottage pie by putting potato down the bottom, like a full pastry, like you're actually making a pie. What we're doing today is a layer of meat, layer of potato. But like I say, some people would put a bottom layer of potato, then fill it, then put potatoes on the top. Right, let's get started doing our mashed potato. Okay, so potatoes peeled. I mean, you don't have to peel them if you want. Some people would make them with the skins on. Just give them a really good scrub and cut any little bits off. But traditionally, peeled, cut into kind of, irregular sizes, doesn't really matter. In some cold water with salt. We're going to bring them to the boil. We want them really nice and soft. Then we're going to drain the water off and start to mash them. Okay, so potatoes are nice and soft, as you can see. And I've drained them off and put them back into the same pan. Right, you're going to need a potato masher, which I've got here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mash them first before we're going to add some milk, some pepper and some butter. But first we need to mash them. So yeah, you know the drill. In we go. Mash them, back in a moment. Okay, so they've had a nice little mash. Just going to add a little bit of black pepper. I'm using a coarse grain one, but you don't have to. You can use powder if you wanted. Now what we're going to do is add a touch of milk into this. Just drizzle that in. Then some butter. The amount's really up to you. A little bit of butter does work wonders in this though. Again, I'm going to mash that for about another minute or so, then I'll be back. Okay, so there we go, done. Give it a nice mash and you've got a really nice, light, fluffy mashed potato there. Now, if you wanted, you could add in a little bit of grated cheese into that, or a bit of parmesan, or some sweet corn, a little bit of chopped onion. You could be adding a herb, like a parsley or something. Anything kind of goes. This is nice and straight. That's how I'm doing it. That's done. Let's move on to the next step. Okay, let's get onto the meat sauce, or the bottom layer. So I've got a little pan here with a tiny amount of oil. I mean, really just a small amount. What we're going to do now is add our mince in. Now I'm using minced beef today, so therefore I'll be making cottage pie, not shepherd's pie. Absolutely the same process. So in goes my mince. Gonna add a little bit of more black pepper into this. We already added some into our potatoes, of course. Touch of salt. And then what I want to do is just fry our meat around, because some mince will give off a lot of fat, or a lot of moisture. We don't want too much. So before we add our onions and garlics and so on, let's just fry this around just for about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, 3 to 4 minutes in. As you can see, our meat is browning really nicely. Not cooked all the way yet, but now we've got a good amount of moisture. That's not too bad. I'm not upset about that. Sometimes you'll get loads and loads, and if you do get moisture or fat, you need to just sort of, drain a bit off, but that's absolutely fine. At this stage, I'm now going to go in with a nice handful of sliced onions. You could chop them if you wanted nice and small, so they disappear into the sauce once it's done, but I quite like them like this. I've got some chopped, or roughly chopped garlic, about 3 cloves there for the amount we're doing today. Again, if you want, cut it much smaller. So we're now going to add some dried herbs. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of rosemary and a little bit of marjoram. Now, of course, you can be adding thyme, oregano, basil. You can go any direction you want, actually. I mean, you could now make like a Mexican type shepherd's pie if you wanted, which I think I've actually done before. I'll try and find it and stick it up at the end, where I've put cumin, paprika and things like that in there. You could make an Indian one with a little bit of curry powder maybe. Like I say, there's no actual set rule for this. And again, some people will put 0 vegetables into this. Some will put some frozen peas in, or some mushrooms, diced carrots, peppers. I think I'm just going to add a few peas in this today. But yeah, I mean, you could just do it completely straight if you wanted. Okay, now what we need to do, about 4 or 5 more minutes. We're on a kind of medium or just above a medium heat. Let's fry this around now to get this all cooked. Give it a stir every now and then. So here we go. This is really browned nicely, dried out quite a lot. Even a little bit of kind of blackened stuff on the meat. I actually like that. Beautiful. Now, let's get in those peas. These are just frozen garden peas that I've just put a bit of cold water on. Again, like I say, you could be putting any type of vegetable you like. Now we're going to go with some tomatoes. Now this is a couple of tins or cans of regular tomatoes. I've just crushed it a little bit. You could, if you want to be adding some tomato paste or puree. I don't think it's necessary. Now we're going to cook this for about, let me just turn the heat up a little bit, for about 10 to 15 minutes. Give it a stir every now and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Okay, off goes the heat now. And that's thickened up really nicely. Changed colour a little bit, got a sort of bit darker, deeper red. Now it's drier, but you know, you don't want it too dry, but there's enough moisture there. Simply, we're going to get this and the potatoes together. Very, very simple. Okay, so we're going to need some oven-proof dish. Could be glass, ceramic or metal, that's up to you. Let's get our meat sauce in there. You want to give it a nice inch or so. Just pour that in, that's all about right, mate. Now this meat sauce, I really like it. That blackened bit of the meat and the onions, I really like. You don't have to do that, you know, some people might find that a bit much, but I really like it. I mean, gives it a really nice taste. Sometimes shepherd's pie, people cook it and it's a little bit anemic, if you know what I mean. It's kind of just not cooked quite right. I like to kind of extra cook it. Now, simply, let's get some potatoes and mash. Layer that on the top. Again, a nice sort of couple of centimetres on there would be great. Now, without pushing down really hard, get a fork and just sort of flake it over there. We don't want to be sort of putting any pressure on this really. And then the marks that the fork is making are really essential in this. Give it some nice little peaks and troughs, because in the oven that will really help it kind of brown nicely. Now you can stick that in the oven just like that if you wanted, or put a bit of cheese on there. You could use a nice cheddar cheese, or grated cheddar, and I'm using a little bit of grated mozzarella today. I mean, in fact, you could put anything. You could put some parmesan on there now, couldn't you, if you wanted to? But so yeah, just nice little bit of this cheese over the top. And then you want your oven on full blast, maximum heat, and pop it in. Now, let me just get just a little bit of extra black pepper on there. So yeah, absolutely full blast, maximum heat. The potatoes cooked, the meat's cooked. All we're trying to do is bring it together, give it a little bit of a golden brownness on the top. That's it. That's going to go in my oven for just about 8 to 10 minutes, I would imagine. Okay, and there we go. Really quite simple. Like I say, play around with it if you like. Add a few different herbs, spices. Hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you soon. Lots of love.
With thousands of recipes and millions of views, why not subscribe to our channel and join the family?